This conference will now be recorded.
So I sent documents link to everyone. Can you please cross check and confirm me once? Santosh, I didn't get your mail ID and I got your confirmation that you are continuing the sessions. Can you please share your mail ID in the chat box privately to me?
Yeah, sure, I'll share.
Yeah. So apart from Santosh, I hope everyone received the documents.
No, Sujit, even me,
Kamal,
Kamal,
right? Yeah,
I
Kamal, I
haven't
need to
received.
speak to you. Sorry.
Yeah, I sent my email ID on WhatsApp.
Everyone, please check and let me know quickly.
I
I
got
have received it.
Sujit.
I have received it. Yeah.
I
Softwares folder is a little bit lengthy one. It is optional. You may take that one, or it's up to you totally. You may download it or you may not download it. It's not a mandatory thing. You can directly download from the websites also. But documents wise, just download and keep it on your desktop. Santosh, I'm sending you now the video access. Okay, in short period, I will send you the documents also with you. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Kamal, I have given the video access for you also, and documents I will share after this session. Yeah. Okay then. So what we discussed in the last session. Yeah. What we
Yeah,
discussed in our last session. Hmm?
coupling rules and coupling.
Yes, guys. Please unmute the mics. I have Raja. I think you missed a few sessions. I mean, yesterday's session you missed. Have you gone through the recording? Any chance?
I didn't find the recordings, Sujit. Where do we find the recordings?
I shared with your drive. You can share. You can see in your drive. Shared with me option, or else if you may get the notification in the mail also. One time. First time whenever I
Yeah,
shared it.
I got the drive link, but I'm seeing only the what documents that was shared on day one, not every document.
Documents. That
Yeah,
is
the first four, the demo one and the two other, not everything out. I didn't see the recording for the last two classes.
this one, right? Is it your mail ID?
Yeah, right. You're
RR630.
right. Yeah.
I already shared it.
Uh,
Anyways, I'll share it again.
yeah, please. Thank you.
Check it in your drive once. It will be there.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
daily basis you will not get any mail. You need to cross check after some time. The video will be uploaded in that same link. Yeah. So guys, tell me what we discussed in our last session.
loose coupling, logical coupled, enterprise service bus.
So we discussed about what is a loose coupling, what is a logical coupling, and what is an ESB. Correct? I hope everyone have an idea about it by this time, right? And we discussed about the basics of web services also initially, right? Now I want to discuss about a few other concepts. Like what is an orchestration, what is an hierarchy of Mule application, what is an orchestration, what is an hierarchy of a Mule application. Okay, so let's start with what is an orchestration. Anyone knows? I mean, there is no right wrong answers. Again, I'm telling. Anyone knows about an orchestration? Whatever you know, whatever comes to your mind when you see this word orchestration, just put it on. Yes, please.
It's basically combination of one or more than one services into a single, probably a single API.
Combination. Okay, I'll take the word called combination. Okay, perfect. Any other answers?
It is the sequence of execution of events.
Sequence. Okay, sequence of execution of the links. Okay. Anyone else? Yes, guys.
We can do automation of tasks through this orchestration.
Automation of few things. Okay, I'll take the point. We'll keep that in aside. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, please. Others also please participate. Santosh, participate now. Neeraj.
Yeah, I would say coordination or management of multiple
Exactly.
applications or systems.
Exactly. I'm looking for this word called coordination. Coordination. Okay. Okay. So let's take. I will divide this word into two parts. So ignore about the second part. Where you're seeing the first part, what comes to your mind? First part.
Musical orchestra.
Musical orchestra, right? Orchestra. Generally, orchestra means it's a musical orchestra, correct? Okay. So, musical orchestra, what they will do? Tell me few instruments they play in the musical orchestra. Yes, three instruments, at least three instrument names.
Violin.
Violin.
Sitar.
Tell names, no? Guitar.
Piano.
Drums. Piano, drums. Okay,
Harmonium.
three instruments. Okay, let's take. I am playing piano. Guru Raj is playing drums and Divya is playing piano. Okay, we three playing our own music. That means we playing that I mean the instruments on our own. So if we play the music in that way, are we going to get any random music or any structure music? If we play the music on our own, are we going to get any random music or a structure music?
Random.
Random music.
Definitely, it will be random music only, right? Right? I play my own, he play his own, and she is playing her own music. So it will be definitely random music. So in order to sync, in order to get some structure music, what is an idea behind that?
There should
Yeah,
So you
what
be
they will
should
do?
link
play.
between the three devices.
They will coordinate between these three devices. So automatically they will coordinate, or will they follow any instructions? They will follow some instructions according to the notes, or it could be an instructor. You may see the before, I mean, before that musical orchestra troupe, there will be one instructor, right? And he is waving his hands, and that means what? He's giving some instructions how to play, correct? So if we play, I mean, if all these instruments are following the instructions from the instructor, and are we going to get a structured music or random music at that time? Definitely
Structured music.
structural music only, right? So let's take this violin, just to apply the concept here, the musical orchestra concept here. These are the different applications, I can say different services, and this is an instructor. Okay, this rectangular box is an instructor. Okay, now when client sent a request to this instructor, okay, structure, I want to get a structure music, and I want to get a final response from this entire process is z as a format. Final format should be a z. So my client is sending some http request to your Mule application. This instructor is your Mule application, please understand. And these instruments, musical instruments, are like a three different services, external services or applications. Now when client send a request, I will configure one component at your Mule application. Don't worry about the components, what I am configuring here. It could be any component. I will name it as a simple A. This component knows how to listen to the request and how to send a request to the external application. That means how to invoke the external application service one. The service one will execute some logic and give the response back. Let's take the response coming from service one is X as the format. That will be keep it into some internal memory queue. So internal memory queue, you know what can be called as, what it can be called as?
Channel.
Channel. Very good, right? So next I will configure one more component where it will know how to take this X as an input and invoke service 2. Service 2 will give some response called Y. So at this processor B level, I can store the original response X. At the same time, the response, latest response, what you got from the service 2 Y also. We can store that as in a variables. Next, that response will be sent to some internal memory queue. And again, we'll configure one more component where it will take that as an input, invoke service 3 give the response called Z. Okay, let's take this process. Finally, whatever the response I got, that response will be given back to the client. So from this picture, what you understood the concept of orchestration, can you please put it in your own words? Did we achieve the orchestration concept here? Yes, no?
Yeah. Yes.
Tell me now how you can identify, how you can trigger it from your side. Yes, please.
So basically, each component there is like component A is calling service one only after we receive the response. Then service
Hmm.
two is executed. So there
So
is some
I can say
coordination and sequence.
sequential, I can say sequential, and I can say
Yeah.
coordination, and I can say combination of multiple services. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tell me. I'm not getting some response. Only one I got. What about others? What you know about orchestration from this picture?
The final response is interdependent on service 1, service 2, service 3.
Otherwise, I can say I can ask like a definition. Can you please give me the definition of orchestration? See, there is no, again, I'm telling right, wrong answers here. There is no specific abbreviations. How you understood the concept, you need to put it in your own way. This is how you can remember the concept. No, I mean, not required to by heart in any statement given by me. Don't need to by heart on that. So understand the concept on your own way and try to put it in your own words. Yeah, please tell me. I'll give 1 minute time. Please think and tell me. No, no urgency here. What is an orchestration? Yes, yes. No one. Okay.
Uh,
See, whatever I have written inside a Mule application, I will call this as a process. So what process it is, what I'm doing in this process, I'm coordinating with the multiple external devices, right? For what? To get the desired output. So can I say process of coordinating with the multiple services to get the desired output, that process of logic we can call it as a orchestration logic. Yes or no? So process of coordinating with the multiple services to get the desired output. We will call that as what? Orchestration. So this orchestration logic generally we write where inside a Mule application. We can say inside Mule application we can write orchestration logic. Explicitly in Mule application we will write the orchestration logic inside a Mule flow. Okay, so in Mule application we are going to create a flows. Inside the flow we will write orchestration logic. Now, yeah, again I'm repeating the same question. Where we write orchestration logic? Where we write orchestration logic?
Mule application.
Explicitly in
Mule
Mule,
flow. Flow.
Flow.
in Mule flow. Okay. Uh, See, basically this flow is divided into three parts. The design of the flow is like this. It is divided into three parts. The left side part is known as source, and this one is a process. Source, process, and this one is error handler. So source means any components or any logic where you write to accept the request from the outside. Okay, when client sent a request, the request is from outside, right? It will accept the request. Okay, such kind of a logic we write in the source part. And also scheduler. Schedulers means automatically according to the time frequency whatever you given, uh, accordingly the flow will be started. Basically the source is a place where it will trigger the flow. It will trigger the flow. Okay, then once the request is received, the request will be processed by the logic present in the process part. So what type of logic it is? Orchestration logic. While listening or while processing that request, if we get any exception, that can be handled in the error handling section. So you can write I mean logic. What type of logic? Catching the exception logic. That means how to catch the exception if a get all occurred. So exception logic can be written in the error handling section. Okay, this is the typical structure of a mule flow. Where we write this flow? Where we write this flow?
Mule application.
Again, of course, in a Mule application, uh,
Studio.
there will be a Mule configuration XML file. There will be one Mule configuration XML file. So behind the scenes, everything is an XML configuration. That is the reason one of the prerequisites I've given as XML. Okay, one of the prerequisites given as what? XML. Okay, now why XML? So that means in order to develop this Mule application, definitely we require to know XML. XML means again, it's not a normal XML file. It is a framework actually. What is that framework? I will tell you. Before that, you know this MuleSoft is designed by using what language? Of course, if you want to develop any software, MuleSoft is one software, right? So in order to develop one software, we require one language, right? So what is the language they choose?
Java.
This
Java.
entire MuleSoft is designed by using what language? It's a
Java.
Java language. In that they used Spring framework. Spring framework means what is the format? XML format. So now, how many of you are from Java background here?
I
Yeah,
am
I
from
have
You can
Java.
raise
Java.
your hands. You can raise your hands. Just want to know. That's it. Only two. So then only two are eligible to learn this tool. What about others? So basically, this is a tool where anyone can learn this one because of the flexibility they have given in the form of graphical representation. So whenever you want to use any logic or any, for example, again, database connection, generally in Java, we will write a data source connection logic and all, right? Already that logic is written and given to you as a connector. Just you need to know how to use that connection. So I taken this example earlier also. Even if you are using an Android mobile, do you know how they design it behind the scenes? 99% we are not aware until unless you are an Android developer, right? So how they design, you are not aware. But are you stopping to use Android phones? No, right? You are using it because you know how to use that interface, how to play with that applications present in that, right? Same way, MuleSoft is designed by using a Java doesn't mean that you should be a Java developer, not required. So it could be any, only you need to know how that MuleSoft connectors, how the Mule applications can be used. If you know about that, that's it, right? So just want understanding purpose for knowledge purpose, simply this Java, I mean MuleSoft is designed by using a Java and by using a Spring framework. Spring framework means will be in XML format. But at least by seeing that XML, you should identify, okay, this is an XML. That is why I have given a prerequisite as an XML. Okay. Now, then you may ask a question, how to write a logic? If I don't know about a Spring framework and what are the namespaces present in it and all, if you're not aware, how to write a logic? As I told, they have given one library. One library, we will name that as an exchange. Okay. In MuleSoft, we'll call that library as an exchange where all the 150 plus connectors are available. Only you need to drag and drop onto your Mule project. When I mean you need to write a logic to connect with the database, you need to drag and drop the database connector. If you want to connect with the file system, you need to drag and drop the file connector. Once you drag and drop, automatically behind the scenes, XML will be created. That means in a Spring framework layout. Okay. So I will talk about that XML. What is this configuration XML in detail? And now tell me where this XML file can be created. Now you can see inside a Mule project. So that means in a Mule application, let's take this is a Mule application. This is the Mule application. Can I create only one XML file or multiple XML files? Tell me how many XML files I can create in one project.
Multiple XML.
N number. There is no cap of these many XML files only. No. Okay. At the same time, when you go to one XML file, in that XML file, how many flows I can create? Again, n number of flows you can create. Okay. How many XML files you create? How many flows you create? When you deploy this Mule project, your Mule runtime will treat all this entire XML files flows will be as a one. Okay. This multiple XML file design is given to you for a convenience purpose. I want to write all database related logic in one XML file. I want to write all file related concepts in a logic in a one XML file. So you can write in that way. System layer in one XML file, process layer in one XML file. Like that, you can configure multiple configurations in a different XML file according to your convenience. Okay. How you can connect one flow to another flow, all these things we'll see one by one. Okay. As of now, what is the hierarchy of a Mule application, guys? Yes, you can ask me a question.
Yes, Steve, I just wanted to know when you mentioned about the XML file, what does XML file represents here? Does it represent one connector? Does it represent one flow? Does it represent the whole
No, I will come
application?
to that point.
What does
Yeah, we'll come to
okay?
that point slowly. We'll come to that. I will show that
Okay.
practically also. Okay, as of now, visualize. There is one XML file. In that XML file, we are going to create a flows. In that flows, we are going to drag and drop the connectors. Okay. One flow can have one connector. One flow have multiple connectors also. So the total depends on the requirement. Okay. I will come to that point slowly. Yeah. So now tell me, based on this picture, what is the hierarchy of a Mule application? Guru, you have a question? Or you raised long back?
No, that was the previous one.
Oh, okay. You can down the hand. Sorry. Tell me, guys. What is the
Is
hierarchy of
it
a Mule application?
so? Is it the Mule project? In the
Yes.
project, you have a flow.
Okay.
So
In the
basically,
project, I can have XML file. In that XML file, I can have a flow. Correct? Yeah. Yes, Guru.
No, that's what I was about to do. Like we have an XML file, and within XML file we have a flow, and within flow we have a different
Yeah.
this thing areas like source, process, and error handling.
Yeah. Mule is a set of XML files. Agree? Can I create multiple XML files as I discussed? Yes. Mule is a set of XML files. Each XML contains multiple flow definitions. We will call this as what? Flow definitions. Each flow contain orchestration logic. So Mule is a set of XML files. Each XML file contains flow definitions. Each flow contains orchestration logic. Okay, this is the hierarchy. This is the structure of a Mule project, any Mule project. Okay, now let's talk about this XML file explicitly. If you know about one XML file, all the XML files will be in a similar way. Okay, let's take this is your Mule configuration. Mule configuration. Why I'm naming it as a Mule configuration XML file? It is not a normal XML file. This XML file is related to Mule configurations. Automatically, it will compile based on the syntaxes what you are writing. Okay. So let's take this is a Mule configuration XML1. Okay. Now, in this configuration XML, well, we can create a flows. We can create a flows, right? So the flows will be in a graphical way, or you are writing any logic there. It will be purely in a graphical way. So from where you are going to drag and drop the connections, the configurations and all, there is one library. I will name it as Exchange. MuleSoft has one Exchange. So in this Exchange, there are 150 plus connectors are available. Okay, so if you want to use any of the connector, first of all we need to add that connector as a dependency to your Mule project. Okay, as a dependency, first we need to add that as a dependency. Let's take this is a database and this is a file, this is a web service consumer, like that many. Okay, now I want to connect with a database. I will add how to add. Again, this is also drag and drop only. Okay, assume that I drag and drop onto this project. I added the database as a dependency to this project. Okay, so database is one, I can say, as a module. Don't get confused with the words. Module, database is one module. What under are the operations under that? Those will be called as a connectors. Those will be called as what? Connectors. Okay, so name 2 or 3 operations in that. Select, insert, delete, what else?
Update.
Update. Okay, I will take 4. Every query, select query will, every select operation will be given as a connector. Insert operation as a connector. Delete operation as a connector. Update as a connector. Connector means what? Connecting with the external application. Correct? Connector means what? Connecting to external application. Your Mule application is going to connect with the external application with database, like MySQL database, Oracle database, any other database I can say. Okay, 1 second. So I mean to say these are connectors. Database is a module, just for your wording convention. Okay, next. So I will drag and drop any of the select operation or any other insert operation onto the flow. Everything is a drag and drop. Okay, all this drag and drop should be done in message flow. Well, there are some, 3 windows, I can say, 3 partitions. First partition is a message flow. In the message flow, we will write graphical representation. In this flow, we will write a graphical representation. When I say graphical representation, drag and drop options. Okay. Now let's take there is FLOW flow. Okay, I drag and drop the flow. So once I drag and drop the flow onto the message flow, one empty flow will be created. So you know what is the structure of a flow? Yes, Shalini?
Uh, is flow another connector within Exchange, just like database?
Exactly.
Okay, thanks.
Exactly. Yeah. So flow. I mean, these all are the modules. I can say flow in any point study, not an exchange actually. Instead of writing an exchange, I will write it as a library for time being, in order to not to confuse you. Library. In this library, there is a flow. Okay, a flow is like a empty flow. If once you drag and drop, one automatic default structure will be created like this. In that, we know source, process, and the error handler will be there, right? So it's an empty flow, right? Empty flow, right? There is a third part called configuration XML. So when you drag and drop the empty flow, corresponding XML logic is written in the configuration XML window already. Okay, you don't need to write anything. So what is the name of the flow? For example, let's take, I'm giving a flow name as uh, hello world flow. Hello world flow. Okay. So in the configuration XML, you can see some XML tags like this with the name hello world flow in XML format. Once you drag and drop, automatically it will be converted in XML format. Now let's assume you are in a configuration XML. You are able to see name equal to hello world flow. Now you don't want the name called hello world flow. I am renaming it in the configuration XML. Okay, please understand. I am renaming in the third window configuration XML as hello world. So will it change here in the graphical representation? Once I change in the configuration XML behind the scenes, will it be changed in the name of the flow here? Yes, it is a vice versa actually. So if you do changes here, it will be applied there. If you do changes here, it will be applied in the message flow. Basically, both are same. For developer convenience purpose, here we are using a graphical representation. Okay. Now I hope you understand what is a message flow, guys. What type of, I mean, what we write in a message flow? What we write in a
Yeah.
message flow?
Graphical representation of any.
Graphical representation of any logic. Mule logic, right? And in the configuration XML third window, what you are able to see?
Behind the scene of that particular graphical representation.
In
The
XML
configuration
format.
basically.
In XML
Excellent.
format. So this XML format
Yeah.
will be in, I mean, again, is it using any framework behind the scenes? Yes, that is designed by using a Spring framework. Okay. Next, what is this third one? Second one in between? We will call that as global elements. Global elements. That means global connections. When I say global, across the project. Again, across the project means it could be multiple XML files or it could be multiple flows in a multiple XML files, I can say. Okay. Together as a project, I'm telling as a global project. Now, let's take, uh, I'm going to listen the request from the client. Okay. Some HTTP request I'm going to listen from the client. Okay. Now, there is one module called HTTP module. Okay, I want to add that HTTP module as a dependency. Let's take, I added that HTTP module as a dependency. Under that, there is one connector called listener. Listener is one component. Okay, all these are I can say these are all the connectors or components, any name you can give, both are same. So I drag and drop the listener here. Okay, I just drag and drop the listener. So can I say, once I drag and drop the listener, is it a connection created already? Connection means what? Connection details, like where the application is running, on which port number is it running. Once I drag and drop the listener, can I conclude that all configurations are configured in the listener? Listener is only a component. Okay. I mean, many people, they will presume that once they drag and drop the listener connector, they will think that listener connection is got created. Actually, no. Okay. We need to establish one new connection. One new connection. that connection can be created in the global element. Okay, so there is an option called create. If you go to the global element, there is an option called create. Once you click on a create, you need to type http or whatever the connector you want. So I just typed http listener, so it will give details like connection 1. I mean, it will give some connection. I will name it as connection 1. Okay, what details will be present in this connection detail? Actually, host, where the application is running, what is the port number. I will take only these two fields as of now. Okay, let's assume there's a application is running on a local host by default on 8081 port number. So this is the connection. Everything will be in a graphical representation. So all the connection details in a graphical representation will be configured in the global element, and that connection also should be in a XML format, right? When you deploy the application, Mule runtime should understand. So that definitely should be converted into XML format, right? So that XML format you can see in the configuration XML window. So the message flow is to write a Mule logic in a graphical view. Global element is the place where you can write graphical representation of the connections. Okay, so corresponding XML will be there in the configuration XML window. Understood, everyone?
Yeah, Sujit, I have a question here. So
Yes,
these
please.
three processes that you have defined over here, the message flow, global, and then configuration, right? Is it
Yes.
specific to that flow, or is it across for all that particular application, the API basically?
You
You're talking
mean to
about
say
one
only
flow
for
in
this
that
XML?
for okay. So
Only
in that
for that
XML
XML.
you have yeah. So you have your hello world flow right now.
Uh,
So this message flow is for XML1, not for the hello world flow, right?
no, no. In that XML only we are writing hello world flow, right?
Right, right. No, and what I'm saying is the message flow is not specific to the hello world. It's basically
No,
specific to the XML1. No?
exactly. For example, let's take I'm creating hello world one, another flow, right? Another flow.
Yes.
So where I'm writing that in this message flow window only.
It's the same. So it's going into the same message flow basically. So message flow is for the XML1, not for the
Exactly.
hello
Not for
world
the
one.
hello world. Yeah,
Okay,
no.
got
So you need
it.
to
Okay.
come in the reverse. You need to you need to visualize in another way. Like we are in XML. That XML contains message flow, global element, and configuration XML tabs. In that message flow window, we can create a flows.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Shalini.
So just one question here. When you say source, like, will you go one step back, right? You have
Yes,
drag and
yes.
drop the listener. Say
Yeah.
that now we want to configure database connections, right? So you don't mention anything in listener.
No, listener is only to listen to the client request.
Okay. So all the connections of database, you have to do it in this
The
global elements.
process. Yeah, connections. Yeah, for example, okay, I got your point actually. Just I had taken one example of listener. Like that, there is a database module also, right? There is a database module also, right? So this database module, no way, it is not related to listen to the request from outside. It is related to how to connect with the external database, correct? Right? So where I should write that logic, where I should write that connection logic, not in the source, because I'm not listening from the outside. I'm not getting any request from the database here. I'm going to connect with the database from your application. So in that case, I should write in the process part. Okay,
Okay, so basically
understand?
somebody will trigger, and if it has a database, it will go to the database connections and do it.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone is a trigger in the sense your application is a REST API. Someone should call your application, right, in order to use the service.
Okay, okay, understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
So source is a place where it will accept the request or automatically it will trigger the flow like a schedulers. Okay. Now
So Sujit,
I
one
conf.
question here.
Yes, yes.
So basically, these three. things that you mentioned, and the message flow, global elements, and configuration XML. So message flow and global elements are the place where we use graphical representations, and
Exactly.
the code of these two is written automatically updated in XML in configuration XML, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions as of now? Anyone else? Raghu? Nisha? Dibya? Is it clear? Otherwise, Manju? Raja? Any questions, Raja?
No.
Okay. So where I created this connection one? In which window? Message flow or global element or configuration XML? Where I created this connection one?
Global element.
Global element, right? Global element means can I use this connection one for hello world flow? Listener, I will select this connection for this. Okay. Can I use the same connection for hello world one listener also? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes,
That
you
is
can
the
use the
reason
same
it is
reason.
treated as a global element, right? That is the reason we are creating that connection as a global element. We can use that connection across the project, not only in this flow, not only in this XML file. Let's take there is a configuration XML, I mean Mule configuration XML2. In that I am having one more flow. In that I just drag and drop the listener. For that listener also can I use this connection one? It's a
Yes.
tricky question. Global means can be accessed across the project. Once you create a connection, you are not going to specify this connection as a global connection. By default, whenever you create any connection, by default it is a global connection. Okay, by default your application will be treating that connection as a global element. That means it is having a provision to I mean it is having a provision to access across the project level. Okay. So I hope everyone able to visualize now on your own by drawing the
Uh,
pictures.
Sujit, I have one question here.
Hmm.
So here we are creating the global element, and this XML configuration XML file for this XML file 1 or XML file 2, whatever, we will have different XML
Ah,
files, right? That is
hmm.
specific to that particular project, right?
That particular project, yeah, project in the sense
Correct.
multiple XML files also may be there, yeah.
Yeah. So when we write these global elements, automatically this XML file will be updated. So as you have shown in the picture here, I have hello world flow 1 and hello world
Flow 2.
another hello world. Okay.
Hmm.
So for both the hello world flow, I am using the same listener connection 1.
Hmm.
So this XML file will get updated with two connections, right? Like connection 1 is repeated twice.
No, no, no. The same connection is used to Hello World and Hello World 1.
So
The
in
same
XML
connection.
file, it will be repeated twice.
No, actually in XML file, I mean, I'm see why I'm not showing you that actual configuration practically how it look like. I want everyone to visualize first. If you are able to visualize, once I show the practical scenario, you will feel more comfortable. Okay, that's why I'm holding back that actually. Okay, now coming back to your question, uh, whatever the global elements you configured, it will be top in the XML file, it will be in the top. Okay, all the flows whatever you are creating, uh, that will be in the below of the global element. So whatever the flows you are creating, there is something called uh, resource, I mean there is something called configuration. You need to name which global element you are referring to. That means this flow is referring to, this listener is referring to which global element. If I have connection 2, that will be, there will be two global elements. So you need to specify in the listener which global element you are pointing to. Understand? So your
Okay.
configuration connection 1, if you are using for two flows, that can be shared with of hello world and hello world 1 also.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I don't want you to wait more time. Let's take one of the example here from other batches. Okay, whatever the concepts I discussed till now, let me show one by one here. I created one hello world project. Okay, you can see the mule icon. This is the folder. Okay, this is not a project, this is the folder. Okay, and hw world. Okay, let me open that and show you as well. I can draw the picture now. So here, this is the project. Hello world is a project, and in that I created multiple XML files, right? So right now I'm in a hello world XML file, this XML file. Okay, so in this hello world XML file I can create a multiple flows. You can see this is one configuration XML. Of course I created only one flow. I can create multiple flows also. Okay, now uh, I will go to the global element. I'm in a message flow. You can see first of all I'm in a message flow. There is a global element. There is a configuration XML. Three parts. In right now I'm in message flow. You can see it is highlighted. Right now I'm in a message flow where you can see the graphical representation of the logic, right? And I just drag and drop the listener. Okay, now or else I will create one more flow here for you. There is, it's like a library where I'm typing flow. Don't worry about all this, I'm going to show you this all this part again. So there is a flow. Okay, automatically it is named with the hello world flow 1. So how many flows are there in XML file by saying this? Quickly, can you please guess how many
Two.
flows
Two.
are there? Two flows. So one flow is hello world flow, the below one, and one more flow. Just now I created hello world flow 1, hello world flow 1, two flows. Okay, above these two flows there is one global element, because I created one global element already. Let's take, I'm creating one more connection. I said we can configure HTTP listener configuration by using a create option. I am giving this name as connection 2. Okay, with 8081 port. Already one listener is there with 8081, so I'm just changing the port number to 8082. So first one is okay, I used as HTTP listener config is the name. Second one is connection 2. There are how many global elements right now?
Two.
Two global elements. You can see first global element name is HTTP listener config. Okay, and the details present in that. And second connection is connection 2 and details present in that. Okay, now already existing flow is having one listener is pointing to config ref. What is the name? Which global element is pointing to? HTTP listener config, which is nothing but your first listener connection. Correct? Now I will drag and drop one listener. Connection is different, listener is different. Don't get confused. Many people will get confused here only. HTTP listener. Okay. Now for this listener, which connection should I use? Let's take the first connection is connection 1, next connection is connection 2. Which connection can I use, connection 1 or connection 2?
We can
I
use
have
anything, right?
I have two global elements. So both will be listed here. I can select any. Okay. Understand? So I can create multiple flows. Multiple flows can I have a multiple connections here. You can see global elements, two global elements. So for this next listener, I'm using a connection 2 as a configuration. Now hope it is clear to everyone. What is a global element? What is a configuration XML window? What is a message flow? Is it clear?
Yes.
Any questions, please let me know. Once I draw the picture, once I make you visualize this, once I take back to you this practical scenario, I hope it is a lot better instead of taking that directly to the Anypoint Studio, isn't it? A lot more things I have to discuss. We will discuss that later part actually. Okay, slowly one by one. I don't want to give entire information, confusing topics here itself. Any questions, please ask. So what you learned today? We discussed about what is an orchestration, what is a hierarchy of a Mule application. In that Mule applications explicitly about one Mule configuration XML file, right? In that Mule configuration XML file, we discussed about how we can write a global elements, how we can write a message flow, and how we can check for the configuration XML window. I didn't show you one point there. I told I can change the name, right? The flows, or else I will change the name for the connection. I will change the name to connection one. Will it be replicated in the global element here? Is it? Yeah. But in my first flow, my first listener is pointing to HTTP listener config. Is it still available? No, right? With that name, no configuration is available. So that is why you can see the red mark there, referencing to unknown global element HTTP listener config, because that is renamed to connection 1. Got it? Now the error has gone. Yeah. So you can do the changes here. It will be reflected in the message flow. Okay. So any other questions you can ask me. Otherwise, tomorrow we'll discuss about a first Hello World project, which is I mean very important session. And then I mean in the starting, as I told you, how the request will come to your Mule application and how it is going to execute behind the scenes and how the response is given back to the client. Okay, and also we'll talk about the architecture of any point platform. Did we discuss about that? No, right? I don't think so. I'll discuss about architecture of any point platform also, or what are the applications present in that and everything. Okay, if no questions
Uh,
we can drop off.
Sujit,
Yes,
Sujit, one
please.
question. So in this can you go to the configuration XML?
Okay,
So here you said all the global elements will be listed on the top. So before that, there is a tag called flow of their name. So anything before that is a global element. Can I say that?
before the flow whatever we have, those are global elements exactly.
Okay.
Before the flow definition,
Uh,
whatever you see, those are global elements.
Okay. Yeah.
Blindly, yeah.
And this doc name, this doc ID and all is an automatically generated one, right?
Automatically, you no need to worry about that. You are not going to point that anytime at all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. We'll join tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ajit.
Thank you.
Thank you.